YouTube, what is going on? Charles here with Cash Out DFS. Today we're going to be talking about the NBA main slate on October 23rd. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the different plays that I like, different matchups, players, and overall games that I think are going to be more fantasy relevant as opposed to some of the other games. It's pretty easy to get bogged down in the weeds when you're playing an 11-game slate. So we'll jump into it real quick and get after it. So if you like this video, I would highly appreciate it if you would drop me a like and subscribe to my channel. So without further ado, let's start talking about the games here today. So I actually have the player pool pulled up right here, and as soon as I looked at this slate, I was immediately drawn to the center position and Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, we know one thing about Karl-Anthony Towns is that when he gets to play against teams with weaker front lines, he does pretty well. And in a higher paced game against the Brooklyn Nets, I think Karl-Anthony Towns is in a really good spot to see an increase of counting stats such as steals, blocks, and then possibly rebounds as well. So I think if Karl-Anthony Towns can just hit his averages in terms of scoring and rebounds, I think his counting stats will get an uptick because of this game. So at 10K, if we get anywhere from 55 to 65 DraftKings points from Karl-Anthony Towns, that'd be a really good game, and I think it's well within the realm of projected possibilities. Now, another player that I like is Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler gets a matchup with the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, let's keep in mind here that this isn't your father's Memphis Grizzlies. They do not have Zach Randolph. They do not have Marc Gasol. They do not have Mike Conley anymore. They have a bunch of young dudes that they've just recently drafted, a lot of them, and they want to pick up the pace and they want to run. They got a point guard in John Morant who likes to push the ball. They like to use them in the screen and roll. So I think that there's going to be an uptick in the pace of this game. And Jimmy Butler, in the preseason, Jimmy Butler saw really high usage rates, and now Jimmy Butler's on a team where the Heat need his scoring and they need him to do the type of things that he was doing a couple years ago in Chicago when he was really the only show in town. And I like Jimmy Butler at 7.6K. I think he's going to be relatively under-owned because I think a lot of people are going to see him playing the Grizzlies and for that reason get off on Jimmy Butler and not want to play him. But Jimmy Butler is one of my favorite spots today on the slate. Now we're going to talk a little bit about some value. As I mentioned, Butler is 7.6K and Karl-Anthony Towns is 10.1K. So we need to go somewhere to find some value. And there's a couple places that I looked and made some notes of, and one of them is at the point guard position with the Detroit Pistons, and this is Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson is priced at 5K. He is questionable, so make sure you take a look on that. But it says he will play tonight, and keep in mind that Blake Griffin is out for tonight's game. Now, one thing about the Detroit Pistons is that they use a lot of ball handling from Reggie Jackson and Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose when he comes off the bench. So when Blake is out for this game, I think that Reggie Jackson's going to be operating a lot more pick and rolls with Andre Drummond and things of that nature, where he's going to be able to get into the lane against the Indiana Pacers and be able to make some decisions and disperse the ball from the paint. And I think that he'll have the ball in his hands a lot more. And at a 5K price tag, I believe that he's in the position to either hit or exceed value of 30 DraftKings points. I would not be surprised if he goes for 33 or 34 points if he's able to play a full complementary of minutes, mainly about 26 to 28 minutes is where I have Reggie Jackson projected for the kind of usage that he'll get. Now I'm going to go a little bit cheaper here, and somebody that we can really kind of go if we're digging deep in terms of the salaries. And that is Brandon Clarke. And he's playing for the Grizzlies. This game is against the Miami Heat. And one thing about this game that we should all kind of take note of is that Jonas Valanciunas is questionable with a foot injury. And Brandon Clarke has been seeing a lot more run in the preseason due to the foot injury suffered to Jonas Valanciunas. And at a 3.8 price tag, I think Brandon Clarke sees 17 to 20 minutes in this game, and they're getting him easy points. I mean, his shots are usually layups or dunks. He's getting a lot of rebounds. He's blocking some shots, and he just does really well around the rim. And when you, like I mentioned earlier, John Moran wants to push the ball. Brandon Clarke is a pogo stick. This dude can jump out of the gym. He's athletic. He can run the floor. And I like the matchup that he has against the Heat, going up against another athletic guy in Bam Adebayo. And God help Kelly Olynyk if Brandon Clarke gets put on to Kelly Olynyk, because Olynyk is nowhere near athletic enough to stop Brandon Clarke around the rim. And then finally, my last value that I like tonight is coming from the Phoenix and Sacramento game, and it is RICHAUN Holmes. He is priced at 3.8K, I believe, or less. 3.7K. Now, RICHAUN Holmes used to play for Phoenix, and now he's got a little bit of a revenge game narrative with the Sacramento Kings, coming back to the place where he spent, I believe, 3 or 4 years of his career at. Now, what I do like about Holmes is that in the preseason he saw about 19 minutes a game. And do I think this will translate to the regular season? Yes. The thing that I don't like about Holmes, I'm a little wary of, is his usage and how he has to get his points. He usually has to get his points by getting a couple blocks, some rebounds, and then any type of actual scoring that he does in the game is just gravy on top of his production. So if he's able to muster out and score 7 or 8 points on top of all the counting stats that he accumulates just by being on the floor for his allotment of 18 to 20 minutes, I think RICHAUN Holmes is a really good play today. And given the fact that this is the highest total game at 232.5 points on today's slate, it is also the last game on the slate, so it is your late night hammer. So if you want to bring it back with him or a couple other pieces on that game, such as De'Aaron Fox or Devin Booker, I totally understand why you would want to do that, and they're all in position to really do well and succeed and hit some value. So with that being said, I wish you all the best of luck. And if you would subscribe to my channel, you can stay posted on all the new videos and new content that I come out with NBA and NFL videos that I'll be bringing about 1 to 2 videos a day. And if you wouldn't mind, you can also go ahead and check out my DraftKings recap video from last night. And just if you want to get a feel for the type of players that I pick and the reasons why I picked them, go ahead and check that video out too. See everybody later. Bye-bye.